Greetings, everybody. Welcome to your video series on an introduction to sociology. The topic for this video is symbolic interaction. Let's get started. As a reminder, we are looking at the four main sociological perspectives. We started with structural functionalism, then we looked at conflict theory. Today, we'll be looking at symbolic interactionism. Symbolic interactionism was the third main sociological perspective to come out of sociology, developed largely by George Mead. Mead sort of rejected the first two theories, structural functionalism and social conflict theory. He saw those as too big and macro in orientation to really understand human behavior at the micro level. So he developed his theory on symbolic interaction, and he's interested in looking at what happens when people interact with each other on an individual level on a day-to-day basis through the use of symbols. If we think about the Barbie movie, right, tons of symbolism in the Barbie movie, not the least of which the color pink, right, and also a lot of symbols associated with gender here in this movie, whether we're looking at the role of Barbie or whether we're looking at the role of Ken. So what is symbolic interactionism? Symbolic interactionists see society as a series of individual interactions between individuals based on the use of symbols. The questions that we're going to be looking at with this perspective: what symbols are being used? How do we learn the meaning of these symbols? And then also, what labels do we apply to our individual interactions? Now, for example, we've been looking at the issue of family throughout this video series. And we looked at family from a structural functionalist perspective, trying to identify the purpose and function of family. We then looked at family from a conflict theory perspective, looking at the potential conflicts that exist within our families and over the idea and definition of family itself. Now, with the symbolic interaction perspective, we're going to be looking at how do we even know what a family is? Well, according to George Mead, we do that through our understanding of symbols. In general, we think of a family as a mom and a dad, that, stereotypical 2.5 kid thing, whatever that half a kid means. SUV parked in the driveway, nice white picket fence around the front yard. If you're out in the Midwest or here in the Southwest, you're looking at a nice rock wall around your property. Kids are going off to school. Mom and dad probably work. Maybe a little fluffy cat in the family, or Tiger the dog. So the next thing we want to look at, well, how do we know this? How do we even know what a family is and what makes up a family? Well, according to the symbolic interactionists, it starts with our own family. That's where we first learn about what a family is, what a family looks like. Then we tune into the media, whether it's television or getting online and searching the internet on our iPads. We see other kinds of families, some that look like ours, some that look different. And then we go off to school and we start meeting friends in the neighborhood or friends in our school, and we get to know what their family looks like and what their family, however their family is defined. And from there, according to the symbolic interactionist, we start the process of labeling. Do we see all families the same? Do we label them all the same? Do we see the nuclear family in the same way as a blended family or a same-sex family or a family headed by a single parent? According to the symbolic interactionist, we start labeling some of these families as more positive than others. Some may have a neutral label, and some may even be looked at more negatively. Now, historically, our family structure has gone through enormous changes over the years, and the labeling of these non-traditional families that had a very hard negative label to them or carried a lot of stigma to them, that has eased over the years, whether we're talking about single parent families, divorced parents who remarry, or same-sex partners who form families. Those all used to tend to garner pretty negative labels, and today they're moved into much more of a neutral or even positive labeling realm for us as a society. So again, the symbolic interactionist sees society as a series of individual interactions based on the use of symbols. So whatever interactions we're looking at, whether it's in the Barbie movie in the color pink, or whether we're looking at how families are defined and what symbolizes families. And then we're looking at how we learn the meaning of those symbols, what that process is like for us within our own families. And then once we engage with different families through our use of the media, or often going to school or out into public. And then lastly, we're looking at how we label our interactions from positive, neutral to negative. That's going to do it for now. Thanks for checking in. Never stop learning, and remember, sociology is everywhere.